Good morning. You may not be able to hear me just yet. Let me get my headsets on. All right. Hello, hello. Good morning. Good morning. Come on in. Now, I do want to let you know that this is pre-recorded because I actually recorded this segment a couple of weeks ago. And as you know, if you are familiar with Facebook, the Facebook group, they change their platform, the configuration of how you stream and how you can use your own streaming software with their platform. And so I had to do all that reconfiguration last weekend. So I wanted to be able to record this so that not only could you get to it, but also see the slides because I did create the slides for this. So I am going to share my screen. Let me work on doing that. And for some of you who are brand new, we are coming from UOU by Eric Thomas. I also want to just kind of do like a public service announcement for him because I love him so much. And I've been part of his 365 UOU program since the beginning of the year. I can tell you it's made a huge difference in my life, a huge difference in my growth. A number of changes have happened in my own personal life. And so I want to share, I'm sharing this book with you only because it's made such an impact on my life. And I also want to share with you, starting on June 24th through July 14th, he is doing another Facebook program. It's free. You just have to register. You can buy a VIP for either $19 or go for the platinum, which is $97, and that gets you his flight assessment. I love assessments. I'm DISC certified. I love the tool because it helps you to learn more about you. And the flight assessment, I think, is very similar to the DISC. And so if you do the $97, then you not only get his training, you get coached by him. I think there's like a Sunday session. And then every morning at 7 a.m., I think it runs from like 7 a.m. to 7:30, he comes on live. So I would encourage you, if you are in any way, that person who is into professional development, my belief is that you can't grow beyond where you are right now unless you continue to grow and hone your skills and become the person that you want to be so that you can do and have the things that you want to have. So hopefully you will consider doing that, and I will share the link to that particular program. Again, you do have to register. There's 3 programs. There's a freebie, and you get to do the Facebook Live, go into his private Facebook group, and then there's a $19.99 version where I think you get like the Facebook group, and then you are also, I forget what the second offer is, but the 97 gets you pretty much everything. And again, it runs from, it gets you the recordings. And it runs from June 24th, which is 2 weeks, a week and a half from now. So that's a Monday, June 24th through July 14th. All right, so let me go ahead and share my screen with you so that we can get started here. I got to sneeze, so excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. It didn't come. All right, so I already talked about we're coming out of the book UOU by Dr. Eric Thomas. Many of you already know who I am. I'm Sandra Lee. I am a spiritual life coach. I also work in HR. I've been in HR for almost 20 years. And for me, the coaching was kind of a natural progression of that. But I help mostly women who are feeling unfulfilled, sometimes frustrated, lacking purpose or direction in their life. And many of us at this stage in our life are empty nesters. And so we're kind of teetering on where are we in life? we may be working in a career or maybe starting a career even at 45, 50. Sometimes we're starting a new career, but we still don't feel fulfilled. And we're stuck with trying to identify a purpose. And I can help people with that because I've been there. This is important to me because I've been there. And at one point, I know what it feels like to be like this wandering generality, as Zig Ziglar would call it, not really having a defined goal or path in my life. And I want to be able to help other people to get to their dream destination in their life, wherever that is, and maybe it's just being able to, if you're a school teacher or if you work in an office and you just want to be, the best version of yourself in that role. I can help you tap into your God-given potential because we all have gifts. We just have to be able to discover those gifts. And the way you do that is just by starting and doing something and then leveraging your faith to overcome whatever challenges that you might have to find peace and live this purposeful and meaningful life that's aligned with your core beliefs and your values. I do believe that we rise by lifting others up. And so that is really my whole purpose and my goal for doing this. Why do I do this? Because it is a labor of love. And I got into HR because I want to see people grow. I want to make a difference in other people's lives. And I'm able to do that. And I've been able to do that for almost 20 years. And the coaching, again, is just kind of a natural progression of that. And this Facebook group is really important to me because there are people, maybe not a lot, but one or two people who have let me know that this has been meaningful to them. And so thank you for letting me know that because it fuels me to keep going. And, if it's just one person whose life is changed, then I've done what God has called me to do. All right, so you are the only one who can change your life. And this is probably in the first part of the book. It's more of an introduction. After each chapter, there is work and a challenge. So before we can even delve into the book, we're going to jump to the end of the chapter because I'd like for you to consider the questions and then we'll discuss so that you can ponder and think about what your responses would be. So in the book, at the end of each chapter, Dr. Eric Thomas ask questions. What was your last challenge you faced in your life? It can be big or small. What was your initial thought or what did you instinctively do? And what was the outcome? And when did you feel helpless last? As if you were not in control of your life and that there was nothing that you could do. And as you think about the one particular challenge, what could you have done differently? And these are some of the things that he asked in the book. And the challenge is to think ahead and foresee, something that might be coming your way and how you might handle it. And what are the possibilities? And what would it look like if you took control? And how might you change the outcome? And so it's kind of like I use the example of fire drills. Why do we do fire drills? Right? Why do we do fire drills? We do fire drills because they help us hone our muscle memory. So we'll talk a little bit about you must do the work. We just talked about the last challenge that you faced in your life, and what when did you last feel helpless or not in control, and what could you have done differently, and how might you change the outcome? So essentially, when you take ownership, you become the CEO of your life. And so let me. Okay, yeah, I was going into why we do those. And so we can change the outcome of how we respond to those challenges that I just mentioned by planning, right? And so I mentioned the fire drill example and why we do them. And the whole point of doing them is so that we can critically think about how we might want to respond and not react in a way that's disempowering to you. And so any challenges we face in life is going to be, a challenge because that's just life. Life will life. And I always say that sometimes life is 50-50. And my husband and I had this conversation. And it may not be 50-50 all the time because when we talk about our life and for the most part, we're very happy, we're satisfied. God has tremendously blessed us. But there are some times when things don't go well. We may have challenges at work, we may have challenges with our family, we may have challenges with our friends. Something can happen, when you go to the grocery store, car breaks down, or any of those things. So that's what I mean when sometimes things are good, sometimes things are not so good. And it may not necessarily be 50-50, it could be 70-30. But when we choose to and respond and react are two different um, ways of how things might show up, right? So react is more of kind of a negative connotation because when the doctor gives you a prescription and you take it and you have a side effect, that's more of a reaction. Your body's had a reaction to it. But if he follows up with you and he'll say, well, how did your body respond to it? That means your body is responding to it favorably. So when we choose to respond favorably versus reacting badly, we don't have to be regretful about behavior we wish we could change. And so fire drills, like an active aggressor drills that you do at work, is to strengthen your muscle memory. So when those things happen, you automatically go into a mode that you've trained for, that you prepared for. And so it's the same thing with life, when you have challenges. And for me, when I have challenges, sometimes I do go into like that panic mode, but then I noticed about myself, and this is one of the things that you can do too, is to learn how you respond and then modify it if you're not responding, but you're reacting in a way that's negative. And so for me, I will usually write. I think about, critically, what can I do to solve? I'm always going into solving the problem mode. And so train yourself to check in with where you are and how you're feeling so that you can respond in a way that's going to be more favorable to you. So in his book, Dr. Eric Thomas refers to now is the time to change your life. It's not about money and it's not about fame, right? You owe it to yourself to become everything you ever dreamed of being. And so you have to ask yourself, what do you want? You got to get up, you got to write your story. If you want to write your story, we all have a story. And your story, there is somebody waiting for you to tell your story so that you can impact and change their life and claim your place in the world. And it's really about being courageous. It's not really about not having the fear because you're going to have the fear. I see and hear people talk all the time who've been doing big things in their lives for many years and they still say they have the fear. The difference between them and us is that they feel the fear and they do it anyways. And so that's what I've been sharing. It's like be courageous and it's not without fear. You just feel the fear and you do it anyway. We live in the freest nation on the earth, and people come here from other countries and they take advantage of all the freedoms that we were born to. And I mentioned when I first recorded this, my husband and I had left the Gulf Coast and we talked to people who had lived there their entire lives and they rarely enjoy the beach and the views, which is the reason why we go. And sometimes I think because we have access to so much, we take it for granted because we truly have not realized, the blessings and the gifts that God has given us. And I'm guilty of that too. And sometimes you have a gift and you don't realize that it's a gift because it's been with you all your life, or maybe you just haven't really discovered it. But it's usually something that has come so easy to you, but it's hard for other people. And so I just started really realizing, not too long ago, what it is that God has called me to do. And sometimes it takes you a while, but you've got to get started. You just got to start doing something and you keep doing it and you might have to tweak it and you might have to change it and you might have to adjust it, and that's okay. You just have to start doing something. I started realizing this, like I said, not too long ago. So hopefully if you're younger, you can start now and have the rest of your life to enjoy that's ahead of you. But it's really about getting up every day and knowing and understanding and walking in your own power, your own purpose, knowing what you want, spending every minute of the rest of your life going after what it is that God has called you to. And I do want to add this. It's not about money. And Dr. Eric Thomas says this all the time. What he does is not about the money. It really isn't. And I truly believe that. But money is currency and flow, and we use it to exchange for services that we need or want. And I've been in situations, and I've shared this before, where I've run out of gas and I've had $20 and had to put $10 in the gas tank and $10 for food. And when you're struggling like that, you're not in a position to help anybody. You can't even help yourself. I couldn't help myself. I couldn't reach out and help anybody else. And so my point about earning money is that it allows you to do the things that you want and need to do to take care of your kids, to take care of your family, when you can. So you have to ask yourself again, what do you want? Get up, think about the story that you have that can be beneficial to somebody else. Claim your place in this world. Being courageous doesn't mean that you don't have fear. It just means that you feel the fear, which is just a vibration in our bodies, and you do the work anyway. So think about what your purpose is. And as I mentioned, this is really an easy to read book. Don't let the size of it intimidate you. Dr. E, and I'll refer to him as E from here on out, but E's message is that you, sir, you, ma'am, are the only one who can control your life, to set yourself and walk your path. Get along with God to discover your call and your purpose in life, because you're the only one in charge of your life. And what I was saying earlier is that starting, just start. If you have an idea, if you have a thought about something that you've always wanted to do, just take the first step. Martin Luther King said, you don't need to see the whole staircase to take the first step. Just take the first step, and then God will start to clear the path for you. I promise you, I've seen it. He's done it for me. So if you're alive and breathing and above ground, you have the opportunity to do that right now. Today, start to write your own story and claim your place in the world, no matter what other people might think of you. And remember, I shied away for a long time of putting myself out here for fear of what other people might think. And I'll tell you, I went through all my videos from 2021. I've done more than 100 videos. I didn't realize I'd done all that work, that body of work that I put out there. Some of it is really messy. I'll just be honest with you. I went back and I looked at my hairdos and my makeup. I was like, holy schmoly, what was I thinking about? But I put it out there. And so I can see and feel the growth in me. So you just keep doing it. It's like riding a bike. You get on it, you might fall off, but you get back up and you keep doing it. So for me, finding my purpose in the world, for me, finding my purpose in the world, was my profession. And like I said earlier, I've been for the last 2 decades in human resources, which fits me and my personality perfectly. So my name, Sandra, means defender and helper of mankind. My middle name is Lee, and it is one who is a leader with executive ability. And I didn't know any of this when I started, but I just started. And I knew that I liked helping people. I like seeing people win, as I was saying earlier. Contrary to what most people think about HR, the most rewarding part of the job is interviewing people and then calling them to offer them the job that they so desperately wanted and needed. And what naturally evolved from my 20 years experience is, like I said, coaching other people to figure out where they want to go in life and empowering them to pursue their own dreams. I've also coached other HR professionals, because this is something that's very near and dear to my heart. I feel like when you are in a role in human resources, you have this huge opportunity to impact an organization, no matter what the size is. So figure out what your why is and your reason for getting up in the morning. It's really about knowing that inside of you, God has planted this greatness. He has planted your purpose for you to do something with the gifts and the talents that you have. He says you owe it to yourself to be great. You owe it to yourself to max out the gifts and the talents that God has given you, whatever that is. So the one thing that I'm going to ask you, I'm going to give you some homework here. Figure out what your name means. Write your name, and then I want you to figure out what your name means. And then the people that you feel like might criticize you or call you out or talk about you because you're trying to figure out what your greatness is and your gifts and your talents. One of the things that I had a mentor tell me, she goes, I want you to write down their names. What are their names? Seriously, what are their names? And then next to their names, write the impact that they are making on the world. What are they doing? So for me, that really set me free to say, oh my gosh, the people that I'm worried about who might say something about what I'm doing, well, I don't really see anything that they're doing. So that really set me free. So kick the fear to the curb, because really all it is false events appearing real, and it really does not mean anything. But I want you to max out your gifts, your capacity. We all have capacity. And though we may not all have the same capacity, because I realize that some people may have, and this is just my illustration, a quarter way full capacity. If that's what you have, max it out. If you have a half cup full, max it out. If you're 3/4, 75% way full in the cup, max it out. Or if you are 100% and you are a Beyonce or an Oprah, max out your gift. I don't think I'm either one of those, and I don't need to compete or compare myself to anyone else, and you don't either. You need to compare and compete with who you were yesterday so that you are better today, better tomorrow, and better in the future. We only need to compete with ourselves and use what God has given us. I won't go into the Bible story about the talents, the 3, the 5, and the 10 talents, and how God gave those talents to those individuals, and 2 of them did something great with them, and then 1 person did nothing with theirs. And so they were called wicked and evil. So what will it take for you to max out your capacity? And let me tell you what it took for me. It took personal growth. It took me to step outside my comfort zone and to read and to learn and to put myself in rooms with people who are smarter than me. So I mentioned this last time, readers are leaders and learners are earners. How did I get to where I am right now? And I'm going to share with you how I measure my own growth and how I got to where I am right now. Where I am right now is I work for a fantastic organization. God has blessed me with a wonderful income. I have a beautiful family. And it really started with me setting my own personal goals, measuring me against me, improving my communication. At one point, I joined Toastmasters International because I was afraid to speak in front of people. I had financial goals, as I mentioned earlier, getting $10 on the gas pump. 5 was not where I wanted to stay. I set financial goals of where I wanted to be. And so I started learning new skills. I set some personal key performance indicators for me: presenting, speaking, writing. I wanted to finish up my school, my certifications, and I taught college level classes a few years ago, right up through COVID. And I used to tease my students that it took me almost 20 years just to do my 2-year degree. It doesn't matter how long it takes you. Whatever your goal is, just start. So finishing up certification courses. And what that does for you when you grow, when you learn, when you start to hone your skills and sharpen the saw, then doors of opportunity will open for you. So for me, I had lots of promotional opportunities for new roles and new jobs and different organizations, and reading books. And for me, it was taking, webinars, If you can't afford to take a class, YouTube is free, y'all. It's free. And that erases every excuse in the book. I am still growing. I still take classes. I took a class yesterday. I'm still learning and putting myself out there, messing it up, learning, and just doing it messy. One of the mentors that I had when I was doing the network marketing for this other organization, John used to say, what was it he said? Do it messy, and you're gonna suck, just embrace the suck. And so you just gotta get started. Plan to wake up and figure out what your why is. For me, my why is I wanted to be able to not only live comfortably for myself, but to be able to help other people. I like giving the causes that I care about. You guys all know I love dogs. I'm very active in my church, so I like to be able to contribute to my church, and I like to be able to help my family from time to time. So I think that you have to figure out what your why is. The entire point of setting our goals is not just so that we arrive at the goal, but for who we become in the process. We become better. We become people who do stuff and get stuff done. We become people who can make a difference not only in our lives, but in the lives of other people. And we become people who can do the things that we have in our hearts that we want to do. We can do, and then we can have the things that we want to have. All right, so final tip and takeaways. Again, this is the recording of the intro. Get the book if you don't have it, You Owe You. Reflect on the questions of challenges that I gave to you earlier. Explore and discover your purpose. You have to explore, and it might be messy at first, but maybe you thought you wanted to, teach yoga. Maybe you thought you wanted to teach jazzercise or some type of be a fitness guru, or maybe you thought you wanted to be a coach, but maybe that's not something you want to do. Maybe you thought you wanted to go into information technology. You have to try things to figure out what fits. It's like going to the store and trying on clothes, and you try on something until you figure out what fits, and then that's what you go with. And don't fear, because well, you can have the fear, but just do it anyway, because the fear of doing something different and new is just a vibration that you feel in your body. And then don't forget to set your personal goals. Set your goals so that you can, have a chart, have a guide of where you're trying to go so that you can get to where it is you want to be. All right. Before I close out, you guys know I love to do gratitude. So because I think gratitude is one of those things that it doesn't cost us anything, but it is so powerful and it empowers us. And before we ask God for anything more, let's be grateful for the things that He has already given us. If you are watching this, that means you either have a phone or a computer. So we can be grateful for those things. You have a roof over your head. So start your day or end your day with gratitude. I mentioned Rob and I every day we do a gratitude. We have a gratitude alarm on our clock. It goes off at 9 p.m. every night. And we basically say what we're grateful for the day, right? Because we get up every day and we're already grateful for our life and our health and our family and all the things that God has given us. But we say what we're grateful for the day. If we've made an impact on somebody's life, or if maybe somebody else has made an impact on our lives. So end your day with gratitude. And don't forget to get the book, You Owe You by Dr. Eric Thomas. I will also put in the chat the new program that he is starting June 24th through July 14th. Again, there are 3 programs that you can register for. One is free, the other one is $19, the other one is a VIP, and it's $97. And then you get the recordings, and the recordings, I think, will stay, I think, until October 30th. But I'll put all that information in a post so that you can follow through. And then I'll invite you to the private Facebook group that we're all in. And it's just really enriching. It's encouraging if you're having a bad day. It's a community of people who are doing something with their lives. They're positive. They are trying to make an impact in the world in a meaningful way. And if that's you, if that's what you're on, if that's what you're about, then I want to invite you to join me and come on over. All right. If you want to reach out to me, you guys know how to do that. You can DM me, or if you want to send me an email, I'm at pathfinderbyesli@outlook.com. All right, everybody. Love you so much. Thank you for being here. I'm going to stop my share. I hope that you have a fantastic day. This was the introduction. I will record chapter 1 with those slides. Probably not today because I've got a long day today, but before the weekend. And then on Saturday at 11 a.m., we will be on chapter 2. So I'll be bringing that to you. All right. Take care and have a wonderful and amazing day. See you soon. Bye.